is up, guys and girls? I am Virtual Pix and welcome back to some more PC Building Sim. Now, I have a bit of a special episode today. I'm gonna build my system, but before we do that, I am going to show you a picture of my IRL system. So, before I do this, warning, my cable management is fucking atrocious, and I know this, so, yeah. For any of you techs out there, or people who are computer enthusiasts, yes, I know my cable management is fucking atrocious. It works, and as long as it works, I couldn't care less. So, with that being said, to the picture! So, that is my system. So, going in order, I am going to, over there somewhere, put a list of everything that I'm about to say. So, my system has in it a motherboard of a ROG Strix B450F, a graphics card which is actually an MSI GeForce 1050 Ti OC. I have two 8GB RAM chips of 3000 MHz each. I have a processor of a AMD Ryzen 5 1600 flat. And I also have the NXT M22 water cooling system in it. You can't actually see them in the pictures, but I've also got two 120mm fans down the front and three 120mm fans across the top. And 5 hard drives, of which I will get into when we actually get into this. So, going back to the game, which I'm going to assume is in. So, that's a job for editing me. So, let's get to this and build this thing. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to run 3D Mark on this. And then after I've done this recording, I'm actually going to run 3D Mark on my IRL system and see how the two scores compare. If you want to see the actual score of my IRL system after 3D marking it, wait until the end of the video, because the last bit will be a picture of the 3D Mark score. So, that being said, let's get to this, shall we? Now, I should mention, my case is a Thermaltake Core case, which isn't in this game, unfortunately, so I'm going to improvise the case a bit. And I'm going to pick out one that I actually quite like, which ironically happens to be an NZXT. And it is the white version of the H700i. I quite like this system, in this case, so I actually kind of want this case IRL because it's quite a nice case. So that's the case done. Next thing on the list, the motherboard, which is a B450F. Okay, so does it not have the F in it? Okay, so I guess we're going for the Tomahawk, which doesn't really matter too much. So we'll add that to the cart. And 3000! Let's see, what have we got in the way of RAM? Because I might have to modify the RAM, because what I've got in there at the moment is a pair of Corsair chips. So to make sure that they actually match up, I'm going to go Corsair. Now it is actually, it's not the Vengeance, it's none of these. So what I'm going to do is, because I kind of want the RGB, and it's only this 3000 MHz bit that actually matters, I am going to add 2 of those. And then move on to the processor, which is a 1600 flat. My CPU cooling, which is a NZXT M22, which is that one. Fine, stop whatever it is that you're doing, please. Thank you. Right, graphics cards. Now this is where things are going to get funky, because as far as I'm aware, this game does not have my actual graphics card in it. So I'm going to have to get the closest thing which is an equivalent. In fact, give me 2 secs, I'm going to quickly pop off and I'm going to go and have a look at the box and see what my clock speed is. So I'll be right back. Right, so I am returned. Oddly enough, the box doesn't actually say, so I'm just going to kind of guesstimate a little bit and get the one that kind of looks like my chip, which out of all of the ones here, I'm gonna say this one, actually, because I've got the OC edition. I'm gonna say this one is probably the closest match. Right, so now for the fun part. This is where things get really interesting because I have a 500 gig hard drive in there. I have 2 1 terabyte hard drives in there, a 2 terabyte drive in there, and I believe I actually have a second 500 gig. So yeah, that's looking good for the moment. Right, so case fans. Right, now I'm gonna go and just get the ones that I want on this because these don't really matter all too much. I just want to see how closely this actually matters. Oh, actually, I've got for I actually only need to add 1 extra one to that. Right, so let us go and buy that and get this all built up, shall we? Right, now just quickly before I do that. Okay, so that's still got a day left on it. Fair enough. That is fine. I need to remove that. I also need to remove this, and then all of these, and get rid of all of those crappy little fans. Now, I'm actually going to build this in a similar layout to my actual system. So let's quickly go in here and get rid of all of these shitty little fans that don't look that good. I mean, this is going to look infinitely better than my actual system, in my opinion. But so as long as its performance is relatively the same, it should be fine. Right, so let's see, let's shove the graphics card in. At some point I'm actually going to be moving up to a 1060 Ti Windfalls. So yeah, I'm also going to lay my RAM chips out in the actual fashion that I have them. Right, so the Ryzen goes in there, and obviously we need the thermal paste and the USB drive to install all of that. The RAM, which is much nicer than my actual RAM, but relatively speaking in the game's terms has pretty much the same storage capabilities. Right, now the only thing is, does this case even have enough storage space? No, it actually doesn't. Ooh, now that... Ooh. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, actually, this case actually doesn't have enough storage. That's fine, because I will go through and I will sell that and that one, and then I am going to take that out and I'm going to shove that one in there. I'm not going to worry too much about the cables because they don't really matter. And I can't be asked to unplug all of them. Actually, now that I think about it, it is only those. No, screw it. I tell you what, we'll go through and we'll give myself some nice cables at least. So what ones do I like? I quite like the white ones. I know that much because I quite like these white and blue ones. Right, so next thing, CPU cooling. My one goes on to the back. Oh, actually, you know what? One thing I did forget. I've got a Corsair 650 watt power supply. So 650 Cooler Corsair TX. Is that the only Corsair they got? Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's close enough. So we'll shove that in there. There we go. Lovely. Right, so power supply. It's not the exact power supply I have, but it's the closest representation. So, right, let's just quickly remove that and shove that back plate back on. Lovely. Right, so case fans. So I have a case fan there. I have a case fan there. And I have another one which would represent there. And then my two front ones are actually down. Because on my case, these two front fans actually blow directly onto all of the hard drives. I would have it a different way, but unfortunately that is not how that works. This motherboard can't actually take that. That is interesting. Fair enough. Okay, right. Well, I guess we're not having the front fans then. Which is fine because they, again, in terms of how the game runs, it's not going to make a massive difference. So let's get this beast back together. And see how this thing runs, shall we? Now, one thing I do need to do is I do need to go into the BIOS and get the RAM OC to do that so that it runs at the correct speed. And then apply. And we'll see how it goes. Oh, that's a slow install. Alright, so first thing I want is that, because I want to sort out my lighting. And then we want a bit of 3D Mark, and we'll see how that goes. Come on. Lovely. Restart, yes. I don't actually really have all that many lights on it. See, this is the other thing, is that I think this motherboard is actually one down from the one I have, because on my one, my Shroud actually has RGB lights on it, as you saw. So, you know, you give and you take. I'm actually going to set that up to rainbow at about that speed. Go on then, how are we looking? It's nice. I still prefer the way my actual M22 system water cooler looks. So I shouldn't really call it a water cooler because it's not actually water. It's a liquid cooler because, you know, water has pretty terrible heat transference properties. You know, yeah. Well, compared to what they actually use in them. So yes. The only thing is, I wish that the pipes on mine were that bloody tidy, because they ain't that tidy in my system, as you saw. It's, in fact, just this whole system is so much tidier than mine. I kind of feel a bit bad about that. Ugh, good God. They're terrible. But it's fine. I kind of expected it to be a bit bad. Which reminds me, this system over here, however, is getting close to the 20,000 mark, so I'll be going through overclocking that soon, which will be interesting to say the least. Good Lord! Now, the interesting thing is that the 3D Mark, when I actually run it on my computer, doesn't actually run that slow at all. So I tell you, what I'll do is I'll do one 3D Mark test without recording it, and I'll show you the picture at the end of this video for that, for the actual score. And I'm actually going to do another one where I record it so you can see what it actually looks like. So we got an amazing score of 2,263. Cool. So, with that being said, this is a bit of a shorter video today because I now need to go off and run 2 lots of 3D Mark tests. One which will show the actual score of my system, and then one which will be me recording it. And the reason I'm doing it like that is because I'm fairly certain me recording that is going to affect the score. Because, you know, obviously I've got extra things running over the top of it, so yeah. But alas, that does it for now. So thank you for watching. If you like this video, hit that like button. Stay awesome as always. And I will see you lot in the next video.